Recently, I've been slacking on videos, mostly to watch anime or work on Xenolink, one of the two. Actually, I had not planned a video today, but after trying to upload an image of a huge muscular man who symbolizes the sun, I got banned for a day. This may have been a sign I should try something new with my life, but I can't go a day without my daily Roblox fill. Who can't? We've all tried leaving this website, admit. So here we are. I'm going to teach you guys what I know about area of effect attacks, also known as AoE, but whatever. Um, this is a new clean slate. I have absolutely nothing in my old place, so we're just gonna start over. This is fine. Today I'm gonna be doing things a little bit more, not as traditional as I usually do it myself. I'm just gonna kind of do what I feel maybe other people do. So let's begin. Starting with a new clean slate. Oh yeah. Um. All right. So we'll first put a local script in starter pack. Yes, as I've been reading comments, don't understand what I'm doing, so I guess I gotta explain it better again. Have fun. Um, just name this main, and then here we're gonna call it, I don't know, put in the usual stuff. Name that players, local player, so get in the player, and then the local player of the place, the data model, that's what all of this is called. And then C equals player, not character. Now, just in case, we're going to do repeat wait until player.character. This is so that it doesn't break, because some people's scripts break if you don't put this here, or anything similar to it. So now, here what we're going to do is, what we want is the key stuff. So, let's do UIS, which is user input service, I like to call it. Game get service, user input service. And this is like key stuff, user input as it says. So UIS.input began, connecting it to the function, and then I'll do function blah 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 blah. But you could also do UIS dot input began connect function, or no, connect, and then keep on key press. And then what you could do is function on key press. And you get that. I don't prefer that though. I much prefer this. So function, so input, and then GE. If GE, then return end. This is when you're typing. So if you're typing, it should not have to be like, oh, you're typing, but I can still work. No. This stops all that. This makes it super easy, super good. Now what we're gonna do is if input.keycode is equal to enum.keycode. Let's do R. A keycode is just a number of sorts. Don't really worry about it. Don't think about it too hard. And then what we're gonna do is here we're gonna first start with an in-place explosion. So I'll just put self, like in Wrath of Magic where it's like on you. Yeah. Alright, so in replicated storage, I'm gonna make a folder. We're gonna call it remotes. And then inside of it, I'm gonna put a remote event, not a function, just an event. Functions are for more if you have to return something. Let's call this skill. So skill, and then in server script service, what we're gonna want to do is create a script, and then we'll do game.replicated storage. This is the like server script, by the way. We'll also call it main. So replicated storage dot remotes dot skill connect function, and we'll do player comma action comma like variable 1 or variable 2. I missed this part at the very top. Make sure you put the on server event, and then what we're gonna do is here we're gonna do game.replicated storage. You could also just make a variable for the remotes. I'm not going to, because we're not going to be doing this too often. remotes.skill, and then :fire server. And then here, what we're going to do is self, comma, actually, let's put the players thing. Now, the reason for this is because some things can be very imprecise. Sometimes they can be too... There's a bit of a delay between the server and the client. But you know what? Maybe some people don't believe in that. So, let's just do this. And now what we're going to do is if action is equal to self, then up here, let's put the player as a variable. So, player character. Put a local in front of it. Before you start screaming at me, I don't use local in my stuff because I'm just used to that. What I've heard is that local makes it load faster, but that's kind of stupid. I don't see why, but if you believe in that mumbo jumbo, then do it. I'm sure it's true. It doesn't feel right. But, you know, if you want to put local in front of all your stuff, go ahead. So, back to the main script, the server main script. Let's call this server. Let's rename this server script server. So, in the server script here, what we're going to do is we're going to add our damage. And let's make sure our hitbox is visible as well. So, this part's irrelevant, but you can do it. Local p is equal to instance.new part. And we'll put it in the workspace. P dot can't. Oh, I'm just doing the thing. Let's make its range like 15 studs. Let's make this actually like 0.5. Let's make it a sphere. Alright. This is region 3. We don't really need it. Okay. So, this will be our hitbox representation. So, first I'm going to start with a region 3, because that is what I'm used to. So, with region 3, let's do local reg is equal to 3.new, and let's do c.humanoid root part position plus 3.new. Actually, this would be minus because this side should be less than the second one. So what we're going to do is this would actually be 7.5 because you're starting from the center rather than one end. And it just makes more sense. Makes more sense. Sense? Sense. It makes more sense. Okay, moving on. As I said, this one should be greater. So this will be plus instead. And then this should be 15 altogether, if you kind of like add it up. So now, we're going to do local R table is equal to workspace find parts in region 3. And then inside of these parentheses, what you're going to want to do is put the region and then put your character. And then this is just the max parts. You can do whatever you want with that. By default, it's 20. So, if our table, I mean, that's not, for I, comma, v in pairs, our table, children. Wow, I'm a mess. Okay, so what we're going to do is, for I, comma, v in pairs, our table, do, if v.parent find first child humanoid, and v.parent.class name is not, or it has to equal a model, then this should basically allow us to find a player much easier, and it'll ignore accessories and everything. Moving on. Now, we also probably want the hit to only hit once. I'll explain this now. So, in region 3, this is going to trigger for all body parts. So we can either we can add a value, or we can... Okay, so I'm going to explain this now. So, in a region 3, it's going to trigger for all body parts, and that's not at all what we want. What we want is the thing to do the thing. Okay. I am now wearing a face mask as a pop filter because I could hear my own popping on my side of the thing. So, I'll explain this now. The reason that Alright, so I'll explain this now. The R table is gonna get all body parts and basically trigger for every single thing. So it's gonna trigger at least 5 times, maybe 15 times, depending on what model you're using. Maybe like 300 times if your rig has 300 body parts. I hope not. But we can either do a value to make it skip all that, or we can just do and v.name is equal to humanoid group part. Now, what I don't like about this is that means you can only hit the center, like a magnitude thing. But it does work. I'm gonna do the value thing though. So, and v.parent find first child bounce AOE bounce is equal to no. Then, and then here, everything in here is gonna be your damage. So, local depth is equal to instance.new. Bool value. This could be whatever you want. It doesn't matter. I use bool values just because they don't really do anything. We'll put it in v.parent. Deb.name is equal to AOE bounce. I accidentally put 2. And then we're gonna make it delete after like a second. So game.debris add item. This is arguably better than destroy because it can remove things at like in a timed delay. But also it doesn't break if it's already gone. So that's really nice. Dev and then second. And then down here we're gonna do our damage. So now that we found the humanoid whatever, we can just do v.parent.humanoid and we'll do take damage. We'll make it do like 15. And this should be about it for right now. Okay, as you can see, when I tap R, I do the damage, or that's the hitbox. And then, if I go down here, if I tap R, they take the damage in the area. And like all of them do. As long as they're within the area of whatever I'm doing. So now, what we're going to do is, we're going to make this place. By the way, I'm not doing effects. Just if you watch my burst effect tutorial and apply those to this, then I think you'll get the results that you're looking for. Okay, so let's make this also disappear. Game debris, add item. 1, so it's just not in the way all the time. As I said, this is optional. I'm gonna just mark this as optional. Shows hitbox. Now, if action. Alright, so on the second end at the bottom, the one above, the end of above the end that's above the parentheses one, you're gonna put an else, and then just copy paste this entire thing right here. It should look a little like this. So with this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it placed. So if action is equal to placed, and then here what we're gonna do is we're also gonna do another else if. This time it's gonna be else if input and let's do like F. We'll do place. This is the main script. Back to the server script. What we're going to do is we are going to add a variable 1. So here in the main script, the local script, we're going to add a mouse. So mouse up here. Mouse is equal to player colon get mouse, and then whatever. So comma mouse dot hit dot p. What this does is this gives you the position of wherever your mouse is clicking on any of the world. Okay, so back to the server script. What we're gonna do is, now that we've sent v1 our mouse.hit.p, it'll change v1 up here just like it changed action. So what we're gonna do is here we're gonna do v1, and then here we're also gonna have to change this to v1. And then upon testing it, our hitbox is now over here, and it's a placed area of effect, and it hits multiple people at once. Now some people are probably saying, oh, but magnitude. Let's do magnitude. So for magnitude, what we're gonna do, get rid of all this. And actually I'll show you a little trick. So let's make a function just for the magnitude. We'll call it function magnitude damage. And then in this parentheses here, what we're going to want to do is put POS, that'll be a position, and we'll put like damage, I guess, if you're into that. So what we're going to do is down here, we're going to do magnitude damage, and then we'll give the position, c.humanoid root part, that position. And then here as well, we'll do magnitude damage, and we'll do v1 instead. So now let's do our thing. So for I, comma v in pairs. Now let me warn you about magnitude real fast. Magnitude will only work depending on what you're searching. And most games have their enemies in the workspace. So that's why most people do workspace children. So everything in the workspace that isn't in a model will take damage, because that's what they're scanning through. They're scanning through the workspace. They're getting the children of the workspace. Anyways, I don't know if people have talked about that. Maybe I should do a troubleshooting tutorial. So what we're going to do is, with our scanning thing here, if v find first child humanoid and v find first child humanoid root part, that's the part we're going to be looking for. And then we're going to take this even a step further. Except we're going to do it in a different line, because that'll be easier to look at for some people. We're going to do this. You could easily put this in the same line, but some people don't prefer that. So if v parentheses v dot humanoid root part dot position minus pos dot magnitude, and we'll do less than 15, then v dot humanoid take damage, and we'll do damage as we put in parentheses up here. And in here we're also going to put the damage, so let's do 15. Put this in the magnitude damage thing. I'll separate it so you can look at it. Yeah, so here we're going to put 15 after this, put a comma. And now you would say this is done, but this will hit our player. So what we have to do is we're going to have to send the player. Now, this is kind of weird, but sending the player is needed so that, because first of all, this will not be able to get this value. If I were to put C down, so here, if I were to put and V is not equal to C is red, so we're going to actually have to send it through this function. Now, upon testing it, we do not take damage from it, and it is now magnitude damage. Now, here's the thing about magnitude. Magnitude works as a sphere. So this hitbox is kind of inaccurate, unfortunately, but it still works. Let me just get rid of this hitbox. We don't really need to look at it anymore, because we've done our damage. So our script now looks like this. So now, if I walk over, it is now doing area of effect damage as we wanted it to. Except you can't see it, of course, but that's what effects are for, right? Anyways, that's really it. But let's add knockback to this. Now, the way I like to do my knockback is make it relative to where the explosion happens. So, we're going to use magnitude. This works for either or. Just make sure you're looking for the v.human group part if you're doing region 3. So, what we're going to do is we're going to first make our body velocity. So, body velocity. I'll put it in the v.human group part as well. bv.max force is equal to, no, do not do math.huge. That is the most buggy thing you could do ever. Just do 2,500. Do that much. Or, 25,000. Yeah. And then bv, the velocity. Now here, let's put a 0 for now. We're going to get back to that. This will not work. So, what we're going to do is we're going to make a variable called basically direction. So with direction, what we're going to do is cframe.new. I have not learned that from matrix thing. It just looks like a huge dump of mess. It hurts my eyes. From matrix is something that somebody recommended, but I don't want to learn it. So with direction, this is the C-frame method that is main position and then direction to look at. So what we're going to do is v, or actually no, we're going to do pause, comma, v dot humanoid root part dot position. This will now give us a position, or a direction, mainly from the point of the explosion to the person, so it'll blow them back that direction. So now what we're going to do is direction dot look vector, and then we'll do 30, because we'll do 50. Now we don't want the VV to last forever, so we're going to do game dot debris add item, and we'll make it last like 0.5, maybe a second. And now upon testing, the explosion that we've made should blow them back from the point of the explosion, like so. So if I were to put this under him, it would blow him up. If I were to put it to his side, it would blow him back. And this is how I've done most of my explosions. This could be buggy at times, depending on what you do. Like maybe if I blew him into the ground. No, they seem fine. But yep, this is area of effect. And it may not look like much, but depending on how you use it, how you do the effects, how you do everything. Because honestly, effects is everything. Like, someone probably thinks this tutorial sucks because it doesn't have good effects. But I am hoping you can do the effects on your own. Maybe? I don't know. Prove me wrong. But, that's it. So, yep. Thank you. And, see you later.